Okay, this is Astrology Wisdom Book. This is your friend Comedy. We're going to read about Neptune. I hope you enjoy this study. What up, Sarah? How are you doing? I'm about to read a book. We are going to do what's called reading a book, Sarah. More than happy to say hello to you for a brief moment, but I have everything set up here to read a book. Okay, this is called Neptune in the Houses. Neptune in the Houses. This will be good for Clown House. Okay, these are 60-second clips for YouTube. Neptune in the Houses. Neptune in the first house. It is usually easy to recognize persons who have Neptune in the first house rising. Even at the first glance, it is apparent that they are not as others. The sensation given is difficult to define, but it is unmistakable. They seem in some way peculiar, strongly individual, yet with not any common kind of strength. The general facial characteristics will be determined more by the sign rising, the planet which rules that sign, and the aspect to the planet. But it is practically always possible to determine whether Neptune is in or close to the ascendant, for his influence is concentrated in the eyes. These are often gray or blue of a rather cold shade, but whether this be so or not, they have a peculiar magnetic quality. The effect is often weird and startling. There may be some hint in it of perversity or madness. They are coldly penetrating, yet sometimes shifty and secretive. So characteristic is this appearance that only a few observations of people who possess it are unnecessary to familiarize the student with it. The indication is often especially valuable when the hour of birth is not accurately known, for if Neptune happened to be rising, there can be no doubt possible, and the figure may then be cast for the appropriate hour with perfect confidence. The moral and mental characteristics of people with Neptune on the ascendant are singular and subtle. The action of Neptune, taking place as it does in the remotest fastnesses of the soul, causes deep-seated upheavals of the personality. Nothing so upsets the normal indications drawn from sign and ruler as the presence of Neptune. It does not modify them, it introduces an entirely new influence from a finer and more powerful plane. The first result of this circumstance which attracts our notice is that the character often betrays a contradictoriness, a whimsicality, a perversion, or introduces some fantastic element of mockery or masquerade. In some natures, this will be very profound and far-reaching, in others shallow, even superficial. The question must be determined by the consideration of the relative strength of Neptune, essential or accidental, with the rising sign in its ruler. We may, however, mention a few of the principal observations which have been made especially characteristic of its effect in younger souls, such as have not freed themselves, even partially, from the gross influence of the physical. The yearning of the spirit, which Neptune represents, is likely to manifest itself in seeking after strange gods. The use or abuse of those drugs which break down the limitations of time and space and seem to develop the individual, though only temporarily at the expense of his environment, is frequently to be seen. For exactly the same reason, abnormal vices are resorted to by the Neptunian. The common satisfaction of life appears to be banal. He has not yet developed the mastery of his own soul and of the soul of the universe, which brings the seeker after the hidden mysteries of life back to sanity. The advanced soul knows that life is a dream, but he knows also that it is a divine dream. He no longer mixes up the planes. In the beginning of his search, inspired by a sense of dissatisfaction, In the beginning of his search, inspired by a sense of dissatisfaction, he imagines quite naturally that by reversing the natural order of things which he has decided to be bad, he will attain to good. Indeed, this state of thought is probably necessary for everybody at some time or other. However, by following out of his path, he comes to the conclusion that after all things are no better upside down than they were the right way up. He will then, sensibly enough, take the easiest way. He will become content with life, no longer in the unthinking way which is characteristic of the lower animals, but through his having gained a divine wisdom. No doubt he and everyone else in the world are but players on a stage, shadows in a dream, but he sees also that in this play he should make the best of his part. In this dream he should not invoke the powers of the nightmare. For these reasons, as well as because of our own understanding of the divine tolerance which pours the smile of the sun and the tears of the rain alike upon the just and the unjust, we must not blame the beginning of his search, inspired by a sense of dissatisfaction. He imagines quite naturally that by we must not blame Neptunians for those peculiarities which seem to our elder judgment to be destroying his soul. In extreme cases, it may be necessary that the soul should be allowed to destroy itself, for only through destruction lies redemption. Our attitude, therefore, should be sympathetic. We should endeavor to understand these wonderful impulses. It will be useless for us to endeavor to suppress them. They are divinely ordered, but we may advise the control of these passions where they seem to us to be doing more harm than good. It will be well to remember that the source from which they spring is irrepressible. It comes from the depths which are the very seat of character. Any attempts to deal harshly with them are ordained futile. Our attempts would only excite opposition, and that opposition would be justified, for to our worldly wisdom it would array in battle the army of the all-wise providence of God. There is one characteristic of a rising Neptune which is excessively annoying to the person possessing it. This has been described by Edgar Allan Poe in his story The Imp of the Perverse. The mind of the individual may be perfectly made up, his judgment may be sound and his desire unhampered, but at the moment of putting his will into execution he balks and jibs. Ibsen has pictured the same quality in his description of the troll in us. But perhaps the clearest and most succinct of all the accounts of this curious quality is given by St. Paul in his Epistle to the Romans, chapter 7, verses 15 through 24. For that which I do I allow not, for what I would that I do not, but what I hate that do I. If then I do that which I would not, I consent unto the law that it is good. Now then it is no more I that do it. There is one. For now, if then I do that which I would not, I consent unto the law that it is good. Now then it is no more I that do it, but sin that dwelleth in me. For I know that in me, that is in my flesh, dwelleth no good thing. For to will is present to me with me, but how to perform that which is good I find not. For the good that I would do I do not, but the evil which I would not that I do. Now if I do that I would not, it is no more I that do it, but sin that dwelleth in me. I find then a law, that when I would do good, evil is present with me. For I delight in the law of God after the inward man, but I see another law in my members, warring against the law of my mind, bringing me into captivity to the law of sin which is in my members. O wretched man that I am, who shall deliver me from the body of this death? This is not to be confused with the war of the flesh against the spirit, which takes place constantly in all of us, or with doubt, hesitation, vacillation, and the conflict of impulses, or the difficulty of striking a balance of judgment. It is pure perversity. The quality of aspiration to things beyond the limits of life is common to all Neptunians, and in elder souls which have passed through the purifying fires in those same minds which possess knowledge and understanding of the cosmos, and have learned to deal with passion and emotion, it assumes a less devastating form. There is still the determination to attain to the bornness beyond, but the method which appeals is carefully reasoned instead of being instinctive, and common sense takes care that neither health, reason, fortune, or social relations is put in danger. A person thus gifted may study strange sciences, but he will not go astray in them, will devote himself... Oh, wretched man that I... A person thus gifted may study strange sciences, but he will not go astray in them, will devote himself during every moment of his spare time to prayer, meditation, but will not become a fanatic, will adopt mystical practices which might appear entirely foolish to the average man, but he will probably keep his own counsel in the matter. The gamut of Neptune's influence is thus seen to extend far from the darkest abyss of hell to the crown of the heavens, ever-shining mountains, but the underlying impulse is always the same. It is the hunger for the infinite. The drug fiend, the psychopath, the lunatic, and the saint are all members of the same family, and that which divides them is not the result of any differentiation in the soul, but rather in the degree of knowledge and experience. It is his mentality which separates Saint Francis of Assisi from the Marquis de Sade. In judging any particular horoscope, the characterizations of the native must be determined by those houses and planets which govern the mind. To recount a few of the less important Neptunian qualities, the same impulse which causes an Ignatius Loyola, a Giles de Ra, an Indian Yogin, or a Napoleon to determine to be something extraordinary makes impractical persons with less sense of actuality determined to pretend to be something extraordinary. Hence we find people who assume titles to which they have no right, who love to wear extraordinary clothes, who smother themselves in exotic perfumes, who make up their faces. This idea may again express itself in a different kind of action, such, for example, as love of intrigue, of playing practical jokes, of hoaxing their friends or the public, or of playing some part on the stage of life which is not altogether natural. Better balanced persons will probably manifest this tendency by actually going on the stage, where the impulse finds a legitimized and accepted expression. In all these matters, it is rare to find a true creative tendency. Mimicry and intimidation and imitation are the rule. To recount a few of the In all these matters, it is rare to find a true creative tendency. Mimicry and imitation are the rule, but there is usually a certain spice of originality involved. As an example of a whole period under Neptunian influence, we may cite the time of Moliere, when everybody masqueraded. It was not merely the valets and maids who pretended to be the masters and mistresses, but the nobles themselves could not conduct the most ordinary flirtation without pretending to be shepherds and shepherdesses of the time of Virgil. It has been necessary, this lest the student confound this quality with the coarseness, quite inexcusable, of snobbery. The Neptunian is usually a somewhat irresponsible person. He is very inconstant, and his moral character appears weak because it is based on what seems mere impulse or whim, rather than a judgment inspired by self-interest. He usually knows that he is making himself ridiculous by his antics, but this elfishness of his spirit leads him to continue with them, and a hint of opposition will often cause him to exaggerate the errors of which his friends complain. For that which I do, I allow not, for what I would that I do not, but what I hate that do I. If then I do that which I would not, I consent unto the law that it is good. Now then it is no more I that do it, but sin that dwelleth in me. For I know that in me, that is, in my flesh, dwelleth no good thing. For to will is present with me, but how to perform that which is good I find not. For the good that I would I do not, but the evil which I would not that I do. Now if I do that I would not, it is no more I that do it, but sin that dwelleth in me. I find then a law, that when I would do good, evil is present with me. For I delight in the law of God after the inward man, but I see another law in my members, warring against the law of my mind, bringing me into captivity to the law of sin which is in my members. Which I allow not, for what I would, what I hate. This life is a hospital where every sick man is possessed with the desire to change his bed. One is anxious to bear his sufferings in front of the stove, and another thinks he will get better beside the window. It seems to me that I should always be well wherever I am not, and this question of removal is one which I ceaselessly discuss with my soul. Say, my soul, poor, chilled soul, what do you think of going and living in Lisbon? It must be warm there, and you would become as lively as a lizard. It is on the water side. They say that it is built of marble, and that the people have such a hatred of vegetation that they pluck up all the trees. Ah! What is a landscape to your liking? A landscape made with light and mineral, and a liquid mirror to reflect them. My soul replies nothing. Since you love rest so much while contemplating movement, would you like to come and live in Holland, the land that brings happiness? Perhaps you would find amusement in that country whose pictures you have so often admired in museums. What do you say to Rotterdam, you who love forests of masts and the ships moored alongside the houses? Where every sick man is possessed with the desire to change his bed. One is anxious to... This life is a hospital where every sick man is possessed with the desire to change his... My soul remains dumb. Would Batavia smile on you perhaps more sweetly? There we should find the spirit of Europe wedded to the beauty of the tropics. Not a word. Can my soul be dead? Are you then come to such a point of enervation that you take pleasure only in your own unhappiness? If so, let us away to those countries that are of the emblem of death. I have it, poor soul, we will peck for Torneo. Let us go farther still, to the far end of the Baltic, still farther from life, if it is possible. Let us set up our camp at the pole. There the sun strikes the earth obliquely, and the slow alternation of light and night suppresses variety and increases monotony. That better half of nothing. There we may take prolonged baths of shadow, while to amuse us the aurora borealis will send us from time to time its rosy sheaves, like the reflection of the fireworks of hell. Then at last my soul broke forth, and wisely did she cry, no matter where, so long as it is out of the world. Mm. My soul remains dumb. Would Batavia smile on you perhaps more sweetly? There we should find the spirit of Europe wedded to the beauty of the tropics. Not a word. Can my soul be dead? Are you then come to such a point of enervation that you take pleasure only in your own unhappiness? If so, let us away to those countries that are of the emblem of death. I have it, poor soul, we will peck for Torneo. Let us go farther still, to the far end of the Baltic, still farther from life, if it is possible. Let us set up our camp at the pole. There the sun strikes the earth obliquely. In the slow alternation of light and night suppresses variety and increases monotony. That better half of nothing. There we may take prolonged baths of shadow, while to amuse us the aurora borealis will send us from time to time its rosy sheaves, like the reflection of the fireworks of hell. Then at last my soul broke forth. Please sit with us for a moment. What fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun! Be happy. Sing out the shoot and I shoot swapper and shoot good people. I am a fighter. I have come to fight the dragon and restore justice to the world. Far out, man. Trippy effect. It's a kaleidoscope. Whoa. Oh, yeah. Whoa. Look at my beard. Cool. What's happening here? Look. Don't look at me! Don't look at me, please! It's your friend Vin Diesel. Maybe you've seen some of my movies like Triple X. I'm in a bathtub. Hello, I am a mug. A cockroach to be specific, and I live forever. I'm probably... See you soon. Bye, guys. See you soon. Target confirmed 800 yards out. Prepare to pull the trigger. 3, 2, 1. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. Don't make me angry. Rom rom bayo. System par denge. System par denge. My only sunshine. You make me happy. Sing out the shoot and I shoot swapper and shoot good people. I am a fighter. I have come to fight the dragon and restore justice to the world. Oh, wretched man that I am, who shall deliver me from the body of this death? Oh, I allow not, for what I would that I do not, but what I hate that do I. Breaking news! This is the Illinois Record. Go to illinoisrecord.com. Del Mar accused of threats in Cook County. Oh, wretched man that I allow not for what I would. Great saints in all their glory were alive and could see us together. Their fondest wish would be to great saints. Oh, wretched. My only sunshine, you make. Down here, do not bother me. Wasting your time, but by not even reciting anything. Specifics. Viral it is to participate in government. I'm sorry, I don't think that's going to happen. Neptune the house is Neptune in the first house. It is usually easy to recognize persons who have Neptune in the first house rising, even if this is the Santor. My name. Is there a soul behind the mask? Like the eternal void. Lead him wherever it wants. A good scientist has freed himself of concepts.
Hello, hello, Chicago. This May, we celebrate Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. This is a time for us to recognize the deep, diverse.
Congress is currently debating spending cuts alongside extending the tax cuts. The path of the debt is unsustainable.
Listen to mommy. The scary looking vaccine shot will help keep you safe. Vaccine. I'll smile. I know what it takes to.
You destroy your three treasures.
As much as an inmate you have on life. And it's because we have different housing.
I'll smile. I know what it takes to fool this town. I'll do it till the sun goes down.
Hello, Chicago. This May, we celebrate Asian American.
My only sunshine. My only sunshine. You make me happy.
Voters of the 16th District, this is John. Act is a failure if his eggs are. The pointing finger is that.
to me, it sounded like you were just like teasing him. So it's
Okay, this is astrology wisdom. Shoot, two more rounds of reading a book, and then I'm probably gonna go to the gym and maybe down to my boat for a cleaning session, a photograph session, maybe a workout, and then